I'm really growing tired of hearing the Trumplicans always saying, Donald Trump is for America first. And Joe Biden, he's just working with the Chinese. I beg to differ. And unlike you Trumplicans, I've got some facts to back up what I'm saying. Now, you remember when COVID first hit, we had this huge, ridiculous shortage on PPE products. You know, masks, gloves, gowns, that sort of thing. At the time we needed them the most, the time there was the most demand, we had shortages. That doesn't happen in the United States. It should not, but why did it? Well, it's because we were counting on other countries like China to provide us those kind of materials. So when Joe Biden got into office finally, he realized that was a big problem. So what did he do? He signed an executive order to ensure that more of those products are made in this country. Donald Trump didn't do that. Joe Biden did. He's providing money to make sure that shortage of PPE products, when you need them the most, never happens again. That is also going to create jobs and income for people in this country. But he didn't stop there. Now, in fact, today he was kind of excited about a bipartisan meeting he had. That's been very uncommon these days. Republicans and Democrats just don't mix. But today he had a meeting with Republicans and Democrats. And he was talking about supply chain resiliency. Now, you're probably asking what that is. It's basically what we were talking about in terms of the shortages with the PPE products. Make sure that we can cover our own backsides, make sure we produce them at home or have some kind of extended agreement with the people that provide those to us until such time that we can make them ourselves. But ultimately, make them and provide them ourselves. There are other areas that you have to be concerned about as far as supply chain, because we are seeing shortages of some things, and they're largely due to because they're coming from a different country. We're not making them. And some of these are having quite an impact on our lives. Like, for example, semiconductors, those little things you put in computers. Now, there's a shortage of those coming to the United States. And that doesn't affect just your laptop or your phone or anything like that. It affects building cars and things like that nature. That's a concern. And then there are, of course, minerals and rare earth type of things that you use to make metal harder or build planes or whatever you're going to do with it. We get a lot of that outside the country, but we're rich in it here in this country. It's just cheaper to go over there. Then there's pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals. A lot of them come from India and overseas and that sort of thing. We're at their mercy as far as pricing and timing and supply chain. It doesn't make sense in this country, especially if you're talking about America first. And then there's advanced batteries for like cars and that sort of thing. That's becoming more and more a thing. And batteries are good now, but they can be a lot better and will be a lot better. So he signed an executive order today for a 100-day review on all of these issues. And then it would follow up with actions on these issues. The point is to get more of this kind of thing coming from this country, having control over the supply chain that is coming from other countries. Joe Biden saying, I don't want to see any more shortages in anything we truly need. Because when we're in a shortage situation, we're at the mercy of other countries. That's not how America does things. So we need somebody strong, like Biden, to say, okay, we're doing this, and this is how we're going to do it. We're not going to have a shortage of PPE if we have another problem like this. That shouldn't be a concern. And these other things like semiconductors, minerals, pharmaceuticals, and advanced batteries, we can't afford to have shortages on those. And what better way to do it than to find ways, spend money and find ways to do some of this here. It does two things. It saves us from shortages. It allows us to control what our supply chain is. And it will also create jobs. It's a win-win situation. This country needs the products, they need the jobs, and people need better lifestyles through better incomes. Now, you see, Joe Biden didn't have time to golf today. Joe Biden didn't have time to do a rally today because he was doing the business of a president, somebody who's not dealing with just today, but the future, making plans, strategizing, putting things in order so that down the road we don't find ourselves behind the eight ball like we did with the PPE shortages. So if you, excuse me, so if you Republicans can give me an example better than that about being America first, have at it. But you can't because you don't deal in facts. Thanks for listening to Rational Boomer.